Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode two of maybe that was four, two of Limitless and Living. My co host, Jenny Tarakango.
Hi, everybody. Hi. I'm introducing Torie Mugo. Victoria, we call her Torie Mugo. She's my friend. She's my family. She's the angel that God sent for us so we can see life. We can see life out of my mom coming out of the hospital. She's the brain of everything went on. And the story how we met, it's crazy. But I can't wait for everybody to come along and see. We have a lot to discuss, a lot. Hi,
And
Tori.
so
Hello. Hi,
good to see you
everyone.
all the
Happy to
way
be here.
from
Aurora, I would say 15 minutes from Denver. Yeah. Aurora, Colorado.
fantastic.
Mhm.
And you flew all the way to go see Jenny's mom over in Boston at one point. We're going to get to that. But those who may be seeing this as the first episode, Jenny's mom was, um, very sick for a while, ended up on what's called an ECMO machine, which maximizes blood flow to the vital organs, the heart and the lungs, and sometimes it comes at the expense of blood flow in the peripherals, mainly the legs and the arms, and she ended up losing her arms and her legs. And Jenny, her daughter, one of her daughters, was looking for inspiration. And talk about first, Jenny, how you ended up meeting Torie, and then we'll go into Torie's story.
That was very, very because I was so scared because my mind, I would just be like the doctors. I didn't know my mom because I know how she's a girly girl. So I was thinking she won't make it. I need to find someone who looks like her, who's went through the same situation for her to at least fight more, seeing like there's life after amputation. So I went to TikTok. Throughout all the platform, went to TikTok. As soon as the doctor started talking about amputation, I panicked. So I went to TikTok for weeks, keep on looking. I saw a couple people, but then I was just looking for someone who looks like my mom. And I was looking. One day, I was so desperate. I looked and I saw Tori. She posted one of her video on TikTok. My eyes, it felt like I saw something, the miracle coming. Just thank God. I was just praying, oh my God, oh my God. So I went and I comment. It was so desperate. That message was so desperate. It was so desperate. I was so desperate. Like, please, please, I need your help. I need your help. My mom, she's in the same situation. I need somebody to help me because we don't know where to go from here. So I comment and she comment back said, DM me, which means she'd send an inbox message. I did at least three. I did the first one. She didn't respond. The second one, she didn't respond. I was like, she's not seeing my messages. And I went back to the comment. I was like, oh, I'm sending messages, but you are not viewing them. Then Tori asked me for a friend request. Supposedly, I didn't know that on TikTok, if you were not friends, you cannot see the messages that I'm sending
Mhm.
to the person. The sender can send the message, but the receiver won't see it because we're not friends. So as soon as she sent me a friend request, her mailbox was a lot of messages. And she's like, here's my number. Call me, call me. And the first thing for when she said, called me, she texted us like, she's texting. And she gave me her number to call her. She wrote it. So there's hope. I was like, perfect. And that's how I met Tori.
Mhm.
Torie, have you ever had anyone reach out to you who had been in the same situation and asked for your inspiration like this?
Not identically, because Jenny's mom and our situations are like identical to the T. Most people, they probably lost a limb or they're looking for somebody to help them with, you know, limb care or prosthetics. They need new prosthetics. So do you know organization that can help me? But most of them are back in Kenya because I was born and raised in Kenya. So it's never been around here. Around here, it's just people commenting, "Oh, you're inspiring, keep going," encouraging me and things like that. But a situation like Jenny's, this is my first. This was my first, and I'm glad that I just went for it. Like, I'm gonna do this. And when I heard her, I mean, I was like, wow, yes, I need to help them. Whatever
And I
I
was
can do.
crying. I was crying.
That's amazing.
I was crying and I was like, where are you from? Because I knew I didn't want to assume. Where are you from? She's like, from Kenya. I was like, thanks, Jesus Lord. So that means she's African. And she was talking Jesus. She's Christian, which is like, thank God. Because mama's a mom. Look, she's African. She's from Kenya. And she's Christian. So her dad is Christian. So we're going through the same thing because, sometimes it will be, we cannot do this. We are Christian. We cannot do this. And it was just perfect timing, perfect everything. And the day I called her, the following night, the whole family was together. My aunts, people, my husband, everybody was sitting. We needed to take a decision. And I said, Torie did this 4 years ago. If Torie said there is no way, there is no way. Because coming from this, by now she would know if there were a way. She's like, there's no way for that. You got to do it as soon as possible. Ah.
Yeah, Torie, share your experience and how you end up. So what happened 4 years ago?
4 years ago, 2019 January, I thought I had the flu. But I mean, it progressed to where I needed to go see a doctor because when you have a flu and you want to go to the hospital, they'll just send you home. And I didn't want to do that. Everybody was coughing, everybody was sick. So I told my aunts, I need to go to the hospital. You need to take me. So we get there because I couldn't breathe very well. And I was only sick for I would say 3 days. I was sick and then I was in the hospital. And being me, because I'm active, my immune system is usually not very compromised. So when I started feeling like I couldn't breathe very well, I knew something was wrong and I was coughing. So we get to the hospital and they do an x-ray and they told me you have pneumonia. And I was like, oh, cool. It's just pneumonia. They're going to give me antibiotics and send me home. They told me, dudes, you have pneumonia. Like your x-ray shows that your lungs are white completely. Nothing is coming in. That's the reason why you cannot breathe. And then when the blood results came in, because they took my blood when they did the triage, they told me I was septic. And mind you, right when they did the triage where they're taking your vitals, my oxygen was at 50%. Anybody that has a 50% oxygen is pretty much a dead person or a dead person walking. So they asked me, Victoria, how are you walking? How are you talking? You are very, very sick. And then when they mentioned sepsis, I knew what sepsis was. I knew it was a blood infection. Funny enough, I love medical shows. And that's how I knew. I mean, any medical show that's out there, I am watching it. Trust me. So for me, this was not strange. I just knew antibiotics was the answer. But then they tell me, well, you can't go home. And I said, no, 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 no. I have to go home. I have a 3-year-old at home. I have to go home. And they said, no, we have to admit you. You are very, very sick. And now when the doctors came back in, initially they were just checking my vitals and they were cool. And then immediately they knew I had sepsis. They came back in with like PPE, uniform and everything. I was like, am I dying? Is it Ebola? What is it? What is going on?
Oh
So
my gosh, when they come in with the full, what I
yes,
call
with the
it, face
masks and
scan.
everything. And
Oh, that
now I
is
started getting
scary.
scared. I was so scared. I was like, wow, this is bad. So basically, I went in um, January 9th in the morning. And by midnight, I was in a medically induced coma. My kidneys were failing. I was on a trach. So I had a trach in there because my lungs, I couldn't breathe through my lungs. So they had to help me breathe. And obviously I was on life support, ECMO. So I remained in that state for 4 weeks. And on the 3.5 time frame, 3.5 week time frame, they called um, my family. Um, Actually, within 2 weeks, they called my aunt and told her, "Do her parents live here in the States?" And she said, "No." "Can they travel?" "Yes." The doctor said they need to get here like yesterday. So that's what my aunt was freaking out now, like, whoa, something is really, really wrong. So of course they called my parents, and you can only imagine how that phone call went. And then they were here within 2 days. My family here paid for their tickets for both of them to come. So they were here by week 2. And by week 3.5, round about that period, they called them, the doctors called them again and told them, well, she's not doing well. We've done everything that we can. It's up to her to fight. But basically, they're telling them, dude, we are getting to a point where you guys need to start thinking ahead of disconnecting her and everything, because I only had a 2% chance to survive. So my aunt told the doctors, our God can work with 2%. Even if it's 0.5%,
Good
our
for
God can work with
her.
that. Yes,
Good
our
for
God
her.
can work with that. Don't worry about. Told the doctor, don't worry about it. Our God can work with that. Because when the doctor said that, my family keeps telling me the room was cold. Nobody was talking. Nobody was breathing. It was like, what are you talking about? There's no way we are letting her go. But yeah, by that time, I mean, my hands were necrotic, so my hands had started to die. My feet had started to die. Everything was just bad. My lungs were not working. My kidneys were completely failed. Like they were zero, not working at all. I wasn't producing any urine. My body, I'm usually like a 115, 120 pound person, and I was like literally hitting 180s and above. I was a balloon because my body was not removing any water from, my kidneys were not removing any water from my body. So by the end of week 4, they did another x-ray and they saw a little air bubble in my lung, very little. And they're like, oh, well, I guess. Well, I guess she might actually make it through this. So they told my parents, this is what's happening. This is what we are seeing. We're not promising anything because remember, she's been in a coma for 4 weeks. We don't know what her brain function is. We just have to wait and see. So every day I started improving, kept improving. By the 3rd or 4th day, they were like, okay, I think we need to wean her off sedation so we can see how she's doing. So that is another whole other story because now I'm waking up and I'm seeing my hands are dead, my feet are dead halfway through. And I flipped out. Just like that girl you're talking about, I flipped out. They had to sedate me back. Because I'm waking up, my parents are standing right there. My aunt is sitting right next to me, and all she's doing is crying. I cannot talk because I have a trach. So I'm miming, like, what is going on? What is going on? So I'm looking at her because I knew she's the one who has the most information because she became my proxy. Like, what is going on? Why are my hands black? What? So I'm trying to uncover myself so I can see my feet because I can feel that I can't really feel all the way. And woo, let me tell you, I flipped out, completely flipped out. So I woke up about a day after, but I woke up with nobody in the room, in the hospital room. And I sat with myself for a minute and I decided to talk to God. And I told God, if you got me out of that coma, there's a reason for that. And you and me have to do this. I cannot do this by myself. I need to be mommy again. I need to walk again. But I'm not going to be able to do this without you. So you have to literally, I told him, literally hold my hand. And if you do that, I will get through this. I know I will because I know you. I know I will. And from that day, I'm telling you, Kim, from that day, I never again felt sorry for myself. Every day, people came into the room and they looked at me and I looked like a ghost because of how my body had deteriorated. But I never felt it. God gave me so much grace. I never cared how I looked. I just cared about the next minute, the next hour, the next, I don't know, 5 hours, the next day. That's what I cared about. As long as I made it through that minute.
Bring us back to that because I think that a lot of people would have a hard time understanding if they're not someone of faith or they're half faith on the borderline type of thing. And
Mm-hmm.
even if they had faith before, there are studies that show when someone's in crisis, or there's a tragedy that happens, you have one school of folks that literally become atheists, and you have the other ones that actually turn to their faith to get them through. What was going through your mind, or what is it about you, or in who you are, how you were raised, your faith, etc., that drove you this direction towards relying upon your faith and literally diving in 100% versus going the other direction to say, if you were a good God, then how could you let this happen? Can you walk us
Exactly.
through and bring us back to that? Because I think that could really have an impact on others. And because I know Jenny's nodding over there because she also has that same story she's
Yes.
going to
Oh
share
my God, how?
with her mom,
So
right?
every time I share my story, I always talk about two sides of a coin, because there are people who have faith and they dive into it. There are people who have faith and they lose it just because they question God. Why would you do this to me? Why? And then there's another group of people who, they're not religious. For me, I tell people, focus on one thing that you want to live for. What do you want to live for? For me, if I didn't have faith, I would say my son. My son was my focal point. Like, if I have to fight, I have to fight because my son needs me. I have to fight because if I stay in this bed and give up, I- I'm I am breaking a spirit in him. He's young, but kids, as young as they are, they're resilient. Human beings of whatever kind of, if you're young, you're older, you're mid-age, whatever position you are in life, there's something about you living for somebody you love, for something you love. Two things. The other thing was me. I'm an athlete, so I had that mindset. For me, I told myself I'm going to run again. I don't care what anybody tells me. My doctors told me I couldn't because I was in dialysis and I will never leave dialysis. I ended up leaving dialysis. They said your kidneys have failed. There's no way they're coming back. And I said, okay, just keep talking. I'm not listening, but you just keep talking. Victoria, do you understand what we are trying to tell you? I say, yes, I understand what you're telling me, but in my mind, I refused. So my focal point would have been my son. So look for that focal point that you have to live for. Because as long as you're alive, there's something in life that you would want to live for. Another thing, support systems. Support systems are the best. I was lucky to have my family here, which are my support systems. But even them, they needed people to support them because they were living in a situation where this was new for them. So they support me. Who's supporting them? So they can keep supporting me. It's like a domino effect. If they're supporting me, somebody needs to support them. So, like I said, different sides of coins. Faith was number one for me. Number two was my son. Number three is for you to just find something to live for. As long as you're alive, there's something to live for. You're not alive by mistake or by chance. There's a reason, there's a purpose. Everybody has it. And nobody can tell me that they don't have a purpose. You don't have to have faith to have a purpose. You can just have a purpose because you know you're alive. And there's a reason for that. Otherwise, what's the point? I kept telling myself, well, I'm alive. Well, I need to live. I need to live. I can't live in my bed for the rest of my life. That's not life. That's not life. Find something. There's always something. But you have to switch your mind to that. You have to look at life positively, as terrible as it was. For me, I mean, trauma is the worst thing that can, and trauma has a way of bringing a lot of darkness in your mind and your life. But if you encourage the trauma, it will take over. Discouraging a trauma is taking 1 minute at a time. If you are able to breathe or just smile today, that's enough. Tomorrow, look for something else that is positive that you can do. And every day I did that. And every day I grew because that's growth. Today I'll smile. Tomorrow, maybe I'll just move my arm because sometimes when you go through sepsis, you don't even want to move your arm. Everything hurts. The only thing that doesn't hurt is your hair. Everything hurts, literally. But even just to sit up, just to go like that and just sit up, that is progress. It's not a bad thing. And it's not a bad thing to take a minute and say, today, I don't want to do anything. I just want to be mental day today. Nothing. Switch on the TV and literally do nothing. That is healthy also. Because, I mean, we keep telling ourselves, oh, I have to do something because now I have to, I have to. No, sometimes you just don't have to. And that break gives you energy for the next day.
I think that's so important that you bring up that point of just allowing yourself to be, because we end up sometimes we get out of bed and we start seeing the things we can't do, and then it attracts more of the things we can't do and more of the things we can't do, and it just spins out of control.
Yep.
Versus you could focus there and you could keep looking for those things, or you could stop for a moment, realize you're on this downward spiral and go, you know what, I am just going to be today. The fact that I got up and out of bed, great, good for me. I did one good thing. Do I prefer to do more? Yes. Will I get there? Yes, I'm going to try. But right now, I'm just going to allow myself to be, and I'm going to be grateful that I got up this morning and got out of bed.
Yep.
And I'm curious, is this something that you've always had as a mindset, even prior to this instance? Or was this something that was, I need this to survive, and it just clicked and you got into survival mode?
You are the second person that has asked me this question within the last 2 months. Is this something that you've always had all your life? There's one thing that always gets me back to it, because even now, sometimes I wonder, like, how did I even do this? Because when I look back, I'm like, wow, I was really sick and I really can't even remember really struggling through the whole process. I mean, I have my challenges. I mean, duh, I had to relearn everything. So sometimes I'm pissed. I mean, I pick up something, it falls down, and I'm like, dang it. If I had hands, I would have done better. But the the thing I've always had, I think throughout my life, honestly, even when I was in high school, is I take challenges as opportunities for growth. I do not take challenges as something that I would do and fail. And if I fail, so what? I tried. If you don't try, then you wouldn't know if you can do it or not. If you had put something in front of me before they amputated and told me, you know, you're going to eat again, you're going to walk again, your mind will always tell you no, because you don't have hands, you don't have feet. How are you going to do that? It's not possible. So what I do, if you put something in front of me, I would just go for it. I wouldn't think about it. I will go for it like I have invisible hands and just try and go for it. So I usually go for challenges. I just go for them. If I fail, I fail. So what? At least I tried. I'm way better off than somebody who said I can't do that.
And how do you advise, Jenny, I'm sure your mom is kind of in that same spot as she's just learning these things. How do you help, for example, Jenny's mom or others manage those moments of frustration? Is it just a matter of allowing yourself to say, gosh, dang it, darn it, at least I tried, and let it go, and then say, okay, how can I succeed? Or is there something else I can succeed at? I mean, of course I have to eat. I'm gonna figure out a way.
That's exactly. A funny story about that one. Sorry, it's quick, just to highlight something quick. The day I picked up Torie from the airport, we were supposed to go. The traffic was bad. She was already tired. It was 6-hour flight. She was done, tired, dead. It was the first time. So we said, okay, I said, Tori, can we eat something before we go home? So then the traffic can get a little bit easier so we can get home faster. Because it was an hour and some 30 minutes, something like that. Tori goes like, sure. So my brain, I was thinking, Lord, we're going to eat. I just want her to be comfortable. I don't want to look, I don't want to ask a lot of questions. So I was just texting my sister, oh, we're going to the restaurant. And they said, is she going to eat by herself? I was like, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. So I couldn't ask either. So when we picked a restaurant, it was not comfortable. It was just, when
It was
reality
new.
in your face. No, reality in my face. We went to the restaurant, we sat down, we ordered food. She opened her purse, picked up her spoon, wear it. I was not looking. I was just can see it through my eyes, but I was not looking. She picked up her fork, put it on. We ate. We were talking. We were drinking. It was a soda. Laughing, laughing, and we finished. She took some to go, and I went to the car. Text my sister. I was like, "Oh, did you guys finish?" Because they wanted to know what's going on. What's going on? Authority, what's going on? And I said, "Yeah, we ate." Oh, did she eat herself? I said, yeah, she did. How? I said, I don't know. She just did. She just did. I didn't look because I didn't want to make her uncomfortable. She just did. And
So
everyone, wow, I can't wait to see. I was like, I know, wow is right. I was just updating them. It was just amazing. And seeing that, it's new, her doing that. And when you ask her that affirmation, it was a story. Your hand is a little bit longer than my mom. My mom is shorter. Do you think she will? Her is so positive. Because of course she will. She will find a way. You guys have hands different from her. She will find a way and it will work. Her brain was just going to teach her how to do it. So the affirmation, what she affirmed, it put me at ease. So I know how to break it down to the youngest. They can be at peace. So the Torie said, it's okay. She will do it. So as soon as Torie says it's okay, it's okay. Everybody stays quiet and just to relax a little bit. Okay, Torie said it's okay. Go. I saw her. She ate. She walked from the airport. She had a backpack and she had her suitcase and she had her cushion for the neck. She did it. My sister's like, how? I said, I don't know. She did. If she traveled 6 hours to here, she did. I don't know. Don't ask me how. No, she did. And my mom was telling her those stories. She's like, so she traveled. I was like, yeah. But herself, I was like, yeah. Wow. So I can travel. I was like, yeah, you can, because she's coming. She's coming. And she ate too. It was just, we tried to understand it, but it was, yes, a beautiful moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, um, also to add on to what Kim was asking is how do you or how do you encourage somebody who is afraid to try or is trying and failing is just because I pick up a spoon and eat it this way, you can find your own way to eat. There's no one way to eat. Culturally, because we are raised that way, we are told, well, you need your fingers to pick up a spoon and eat. But that's not true. What if we were all born without hands? That would not mean that we would never eat. We will still eat. One or the other will still eat. One or the other, you'll still walk. I mean, when I go to the bathroom, I don't wear my prosthetics to go to the bathroom. I just go on my knees, go to the bathroom, go on the seat and pee or do whatever I'm doing or go to the shower. And before, I used to take my wheelchair, electric wheelchair, all through because I was like, oh, there's no way I can use my knees. And then I kept telling myself, am I going to be getting on the wheelchair every time I need to go to the bathroom? I can just, take a few steps, go do my thing and be done. And now I created that environment. But yes, you have to retrain your mind and tell your mind, no, we can do this another way. We don't necessarily have to do it this way. Because one thing I've noticed, even when I have prosthetics, if I overthink what I'm trying to do, I hesitate or something will happen. I'll spill, I'll panic, I'll have anxiety. But if I just go for it, just calm down and go for it, it's easier. But if I overthink about what I'm doing, it makes me uncomfortable because my brain is doubting the situation. It's telling me, yeah, You're not supposed to not have your fingers. You're not supposed to not have your limbs to walk or to run. So I had to retrain my brain. Even walking was challenging. It was challenging. I tell everybody, they're like, "Oh, so how was walking?" I was like, "Yeah, it was challenging, but you have to get through that challenge to actually walk." A lot of people give up before they walk because of the pain. Standing on your limbs without your feet is painful because it's skin that's not used to touching a lot of pressure because you have to, I mean, you're supporting your whole body on your legs. It feels different. And it's very easy to not want to walk. You will see those prosthetics and you will smile because now you're getting off the wheelchair. And then you stand and it's like, oh my God, how am I even going to do 2 steps? Coming back to support systems and things to focus and live for. When I first stood up on my prosthetics, my dad was there. My dad was the most affected by my illness. When I woke up, my dad was he looked almost identical as I did. He was dark because of he was literally depressed. Let me just say that. He was depressed. His blood pressure was out of whack. He didn't want to eat, he didn't want to talk to people, and he's very talkative. But the minute I saw my dad smile when I stood up on prosthetics, I was in so much excruciating pain, but I said, I'm just gonna do 5 steps just for him. Just 5. I'm just gonna get from this rail to just right there. If I just get there, I'm good. Because at least he saw me take my first steps. So I stood up and he came right behind me and he put his hand, he wasn't holding my back, but he was bracing it just in case I fall over or anything. I mean, my doctors were there, but he just wanted to be there for it. And I let him just, you know, take it all in. So I walked forth and back. It was excruciating, but I did it for him. And it was that, like, your mind just gets into a headspace of the goal is to get from there to here. And I'm doing it for dad. And I did it. Went from there to here. And oh, he could not stop talking about it. He called his sisters. When we got home, he was telling everybody, you should have seen her. She walked. She took her first steps, and I was there. And my mom was there too, but my dad was over the moon about it. So little things. And it was hard, but it's possible. So every day I did it for him. I imagined the smile I saw and the encouragement and the switch that I did for him. And every day I tried and every day I did. And eventually I walked. But it was not easy. It's not easy. The whole journey about losing limbs is generally a loss. You lose a loved one, that pain, that trauma, that defeat, it's exactly the same thing as losing your limbs. It's a loss. You have to go through the whole grieving process, the anger, depression, acceptance, and then moving forward. It is the same way. The only thing about the anger part and the depression, it's okay to go through it, but you can't dwell on it because there's no progress about that. I will sit, feel sorry for myself, but there's no progress with doing that. Progress is doing something positive to move forward.
How did you balance that, the grieving process and going through the depression, the anxiety and things like that, and still maintain that faith? Because going back to that hospital room, that first day where you were alone and you made that pact with God and you said that in that moment going forward, you never really looked back.
Mm-hmm.
How did you balance those two things, go through the grieving process, but maintain that? Or is that what helped you to, even though you went through some of those different steps in what they in that grieving process, it kept you afloat, it kept you from going all the way down the rabbit hole?
I accepted that I'm human and I'm allowed to feel what I need to feel. But I made a choice. If it's negative, I'll feel it and then I'll have to release it and step back into the positive. I will not ignore it. I never ignored the anger. I never ignored the anxiety. I never ignored any of it. I felt it. For me, because I'm a woman of faith, every time I went through that, I feel it and I go back and talk to God again. We, God and I have a relationship with Him. I don't look for Him when I need Him. I look for Him every day, whether I'm happy or sad or whatever. So I have that revolving door with Him. So if I felt that, I knew where to go. But if you're not someone of faith, I would say accept what you're feeling, but don't sit with it, because sitting with it is toxic. Because it's normal. We are all humans. We're allowed to be mad. I mean, I was a 38-old woman with a child, with a life, with a business, and then all of a sudden I have to be a toddler again. Not even a toddler, a baby again. Start from the beginning, having people feed you and clean you and bathe you and the whole thing. I mean, wow. It is not easy. You will have moments of anger, anxiety, depression. You will have them, but you cannot dwell with them, because when you dwell with them, then there's no progress. You have to find a way to move forward, and moving forward is stepping back into the positive. What did I do today that I didn't do yesterday? What did I do this hour that I didn't do in the morning when I woke up? What? And go with that. Go with that. Go with that little thing. For other people, it will be like, huh, you just woke up. You just sat, you just transferred into a wheelchair. It's simple for people who it's normal for them to just get out of bed and go to the bathroom. Do you know, I fell twice in the hospital because I woke up and it's normal just to wake up and just move, and go to the bathroom. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't even have balance. Because when they cut your limbs,
Yeah, there's no
you don't
balance.
have balance. You're like wobbly until your brain refocuses the little
That
the pieces that are left of you. Your brain has to rebalance you. That's why when you wear prosthetics, you wobble too. It's like you can't like walk because you are not, you're not really stable. Your mind is not focused that way because it's been doing this thing for 38 years. Now we have to rewire the whole system.
that is one of the subject that Tori and I bond more on it, because my mom, she's a woman of faith. When
Mhm.
Tori say, okay, I'm a Christian, I'm a highly Christian. So my eyes light up. I was like, Mom, because like Tori said, we have a relationship with God. It's If you're a Christian, you understand. If you're not Christian, it seems crazy, because that's how the doctor was looking at us. Like, we are crazy. The doctor would say something, like Tori said, I will listen. But my heart, I won't accept it. That first moment when I don't accept it, I know they're going to be changed. The first moment when I don't accept it, and I'll transmit the message to my sisters. And before even doing that, I do not accept it. I'm just passing the message what they say. But we know the God that we serve, this time he will stay quiet. He won't react to what we want him to react to, but he has a purpose. If mom, that was more the question, that we were not scared, but we didn't want to ask God why, mom, why? Because if God wanted, I wouldn't show up at that moment, go to the room and find her,
Right?
responsive. Yeah,
Mhm.
she would just pass. So if there was that little window, we can take her to the hospital. Because her coming here in America the day before, she was supposed to come here on Monday, January. Sometime January was on a Monday. She missed her flight. She took the Thursday one. But then if it was up to her, she would push it a little bit further. But I was just mad about it. It was just God. I say, God, if you wanted her dead, she would be dead back home. They're just gonna tell a story. There's no way you're gonna bring her here to see her grandkid for 4 days after when she gets here, and she's gonna pass and let us just suffer throughout the whole process. Then we can see her dead. She should have just died over there. We hear about it and it's done. Not as seeing it how she's going down. In my heart, I felt this. I don't want no RIP. I don't want people to call me to say condolences. I don't want that. I don't want people to come to my house, do anything. I don't want God, you gotta do something. I don't know what it is, but you gotta do something. And the fear we had, the fear was more, we know her. We know how she is. She's a woman of God. Is she gonna believe this? I know she's gonna believe it. It was just the fear we had. Oh my God, if she wakes up and they're gonna say this, they're gonna say that. We are scared for ourselves, but we're scared for her. So it made it double anxiety. We didn't know how to process it. It's like she's a girly girl. She got her pink nail toes, pink everything. Now they're gonna cut it. Even her siblings, everybody say no, she won't make it. For that, there's no way. There's no way she will accept that. Because we didn't talk to her about it. We're talking to her siblings who live in Europe to say that we know her. She won't make that. But then we did one thing we didn't leave alone, and we continue to do until this day, prayers. We pray with the whole family every day. At that time, 11 p.m. there. It'd be like 4 p.m. over here. We pray for 2 hours. Every day, the whole family together. Every day. Once she goes to the surgical process, we stay in prayer until she gets out. We pray with them. We pray with we have a pastor here who brings to the hospital most of the time, 2 pastors. We pray for her, and we're just praying for, please God, give her the strength. Give her the strength. Give her the strength so she can go through this. Give her, God, if she's tired, let her do it for us. Sometimes I was praying, God, please don't let her just. And she looked, and couple of days going, my sister goes like, she's not depressed, and that's not normal. She's not showing no emotion. That's not normal. What's going on? She should cry. She should do this. She should do that. So we know that she's expressing something, but and she's like, maybe because we're here, because we're doing 24/7 care. And then she repeat herself. She said, it's only God. By God's grace, I'm here. By God's grace, I'm talking because whatever's going on with me right here, nobody would like to live like this. Because I love you guys. I know, because she lost her dad a couple years ago.
There you go.
I know the pain going through losing a parent. Because she was depressed already losing her father, I think 4 years ago. And that's the only thing she cries about. She doesn't cry about herself. She doesn't cry about her being amputated. She cries about her dad. Every time she lay down in the bed and, she had a sore, she's like, my dad had a sore. Oh my gosh, she started crying. He suffered. That's the only time she cried about her dad. She never felt sorry about herself. She got anger, which is normal. So Torie already told us about the anger. So we are prepared ahead. We know why she's angry. We won't, but her faith kept her. The hospital, they knew she would pass maybe one day amputating her hand, maybe one day doing. And we didn't even think she would accept, because I was the healthcare proxy. I'm still the healthcare proxy. But they said she's mentally, she's capable of taking decisions. They need to let her know, and she needs to say, yeah, I need amputation. We all wanted just to die before her accepting. We prayed, and the doctor went to ask her. My uncle asked her, and she said, if it's gonna cost me to lose my arms, my legs, so I can see my kids every day, I would do that.
And that's that purpose that Torie was talking about.
Yes. My uncle came out of the room because we didn't want to stay there, because we all were going to do crying. We didn't want to stay when he was going to ask her. My uncle came because we needed the answer the next day, Monday, because the night before, she almost had a clot and just passed. So they say, we don't know what's going on, her limbs, her arm. My uncle came outside, said, she's okay with the amputation. My sister was like, no, there's no way she'll be able to do that. Yeah, are you sure? My uncle said, yeah, ask her 3 times. She said she's okay. And that we was crying. And she said, it's God. God knows. I said, Mom, it may seem, that's one we were talking about. Say Jesus died on the cross. One person died on the cross to save all of us. Maybe you're going through this, you're going to save a lot of people. The faith that you have, you can transmit it to all the people. Because if you
Right.
can still be this condition and live the life and have a purpose and just be happy. And the doctor, when you go to appointment, they don't get it. She's happy, she's smiling. Oh my gosh, she looks so good. And that's the faith. Because we go there, she has dialysis, she has those lines everywhere in the neck. We say, okay, guys, this week, wow, well, prayers. Our prayers used the dialysis to go away. Okay, fine. We do it before the end of the week. That's when we know our faith was working. They say, oh, she doesn't need dialysis no more because it was 50-50. Tori was saying 9 months. We were looking for 9 months, or maybe more, or a year. And it was just 2 months. And they said, oh, we're taking dialysis. We couldn't believe it. It's like, it worked. Okay, what is the prayer this week? We just like put the prayer request. We pray and we pray and we pray. All of a sudden it worked. I was like, God, you're doing this, we have a purpose. She has a purpose. She may change. You see, like Tori didn't help my mom. Tori helped the whole family. Because we and the doctor made us believe that those 4 surgery back to back, she won't make it. Being diabetic, being high blood pressure, having clot, having dialysis, and the way the length of the dead tissue, it was just humongous. We're talking about above the above
Elbow.
elbow, above the knees. We said, Doctor, I don't know what you're gonna do, but you're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I just the
No,
faith my mom
we are
had.
saving all the joints, please.
Yeah, the prayers, the help I had from you guys, it helped a lot. And I would try to feed her a little by little. Mom, look, see Tori, she's African and she prays also. She had a family problem before the amputation. They had problems, stuff like that. Look how she's driving. She won't look. And I'll keep on pushing little by little. It'll be maybe 2-3 hours after she'll be like, where's the video? I was like, oh, here. I don't mind if she wanna see it just for 2 seconds. That's fine. As long as she thought about it, she said she can see it for 2 seconds. She looked how she's driving. I was like, her husband's just trying and she's driving.
Mm-hmm.
And it was more question about God, why have I done so wrong to get to this? That was her question. Why have I
was like,
go wrong?
I must have done something really wrong to be punished like this. But I keep telling people if I didn't go through the crisis that I went through, I don't think I would be this person. I feel so empowered by my situation. I mean, I know it's dire. I know it's, you know, it was traumatic. It still is, I get triggered, one way or the other, but I don't think I would be this person that I love even more than the other person because my mom used to come to my room. I have this portal and it has this screensaver of my pictures and it has pictures from way back when my son was like a baby and everything. And my mom kept telling me, why do you keep on putting pictures over here of the days where you had your limbs? I'm like, Mommy, I love that life, but I'm not about that life anymore. I have a new journey and it's going to be great. And this is when I wasn't even walking at this point, but my mom was always irritated when she came to the room and found screensaver of pictures where I was walking, wearing my high heels and everything. And she was like, oh my God, will you just take this down? I was like, Mommy, no, I love that life. And I'm grateful that God gave me that. And I am one of the lucky people that get to live 2 lives. I
Yeah,
lived that one's gone. Now let's work on this one. And she's
yeah.
like, oh my God, you are out of your mind. And yeah,
My mom,
eventually like I said, acceptance, anger. She was on the anger stage.
was
She was
in the state, and this
yeah.
step should be a push up this way, Mom, we can do. She's like, you know what? I've done my life. I had a good life. I had you guys, and I'm a grandma now, so I'm okay with that. Should be, I'm okay. I'm
Mhm.
okay. But and the faith part, it's not only my mom having faith then going through this, it's the whole family having faith. Our faith, once she's down, we just like a charge her faith. When we down, she charge our faith.
Mhm.
It was vice versa, which is, it was
Mhm.
a very good, because this time you be low. This time you be like, God, come on, man, God, We had a plan. Mom, come here, stay with the baby so we can travel, go places. So now we got to take care of a baby and a mom. God, like, what's
What?
wrong? What is what is this?
Mm-hmm.
Then, but
You both are so incredible. And so I appreciate you taking the time not only to inspire me, but to inspire so many people.
Yeah, happy to be here. Happy to be part of. I mean, I thought just walking is the best thing I could do, or run. Actually, run. People usually ask me, so you didn't even think about walking? You just thought about running? I was like, yes, I thought about running. I didn't even know where the blades are gonna come from because I mean, one blade is like almost $15,000. I didn't even know where I'm gonna get one. Insurance doesn't cover sports equipment, but I was like, yes, one day I will run. And 2021 was my first run. 2022, I did my first marathon. So yeah, did my
So
first run.
you're back running again.
Yeah, I run every day. I run, when is it? I
she
have a
does
blister now,
marathons too.
but I run every other day. I run every other day, pretty
We
much.
need to get you in the Boston Marathon.
I wanted to do Boston, but I was late on registering, and the registration is kind of grueling. You have to like register for so many races, and there's this foundation called Challenged Athletes Foundation. It's the foundation that actually got me my running blades. They usually enter people into races. So I wanted to do the New York Marathon, but I wanted to do the bike and not the run. And the reason why I'm saying that is because for marathons, for long runs, my limbs at the bottom are very sensitive, so I blister really quickly. So I figured my max is maybe a half marathon. I did a marathon and it was crazy. After I was done, I had blisters everywhere. I was bedridden for 2 weeks. It was fun though. The minute I finished, I was crying. I was like, oh my God, I actually did that. Like, what? I never thought I could ever do it. So now I'm like, I think my max is at 13 mile, 13.5, which is a half marathon. Yeah, but yeah, I love running. Running.
I can't even do 2 mile myself.
Me
uh,
neither.
See,
That's
running for
amazing.
me, people ask me why I run. Running for me is my mental break, and in that mental break I talk to God alone a lot, and we have conversations, and sometimes even the Holy Spirit leads me to, if I'm going through something, he will talk to me and tell me, hey, maybe you should look at it this way or that way, or just be patient, God has this going on for you. So that is my time for us to talk. By the time I'm done with my run, I come home and I'm like, yeah, I feel so much better. So it takes me out of a lot of life funks, if you want to call them life funks. Yeah. So running for me is like therapy. And also running for me is not just running for, but exercising, because I exercise pretty much every day except Sundays. But exercising helps my pain because I have chronic neuropathy pain,
Yeah.
which is you're probably familiar with it, Kim. So yeah, the nerve pain is crazy, but exercising helps a lot. So instead of me depending on medication for intervention for my neuropathy pain, because I'm in pain throughout the year, exercising is what helps me. Getting into exercising, putting on those blades, it's mental because I'm like, oh my God, I really don't want to do it. But and I do it and I finish it. I'm like, good. I feel so much better. I sleep better. My mental whatever is better also because exercising is mental health also. So yeah, I say exercising or rather running is my medicine. That is my medicine.
How do you get over that hump to, you said there is that hump you have to get over, because we have some that will tell you, when they have peripheral artery disease, it can be pretty painful to walk, but where you grow those collateral vessels is
Mm-hmm.
actually when you are pushing through that pain. That's when your body responds, and that's when you'll grow those collateral vessels to increase the circulation. But
Mm-hmm.
it's getting to that point. Is there something that you say in your mind to just get you over that hump, or is it something different, or you just have the regiment and you just go for it?
I I I look at the time. I usually tell myself it's now, right now it's 6:22. And I tell myself if I just do 15 minutes by, 6, what, 6:45-ish, around there, 6:55-ish. That's all I need to look forward to. It's just 6:55. I mean, I could be doing useless stuff for 15 minutes. But what if I just do something for 15 minutes and be done? Even exercising, because I exercise at home. And I just tell myself I just need 25 minutes. I can be scrolling through social media for 25 minutes and that won't give me any gratification, any progress, nothing. But what if I just put my phone down and just do something for 25 minutes? Anything. But what if it's just exercising? Oh, I only need 25 minutes. And then when I go in there, I'm there 45 minutes later. Because once you get in, then it's easier for you to go in. The getting in part is the hardest part. So I just give myself the most minimum time I can spend on that thing. And then once I get in there, I can either move forward or stop when I need to stop. I'll always look at the time. I only need from 6:24 to 6:40, 20 minutes. I'm done. And I'm like, well, let's just do it, 20 minutes. Yeah, because we waste time doing useless stuff, honestly. And if
Yep.
you spend time doing positive stuff, like, I mean, all you need is 15 minutes a day of exercising. You don't need to kill yourself for an hour. But if you do an hour, good for you. But all you need is 15 minutes. So anybody that's struggling with any kind of getting into an exercise, get the minimum time, even 10 minutes. Once you get in there, you'll find yourself there 20 minutes later, and you'll be so proud of yourself. But there's good days and there's difficult days. So the difficult days I have to push and I change it up. I don't do the same thing every day. Monday I ran, Tuesday I exercised at home, Wednesday I biked, today I did elliptical. So I do a different thing every day. I don't create boredom about exercises then, because that makes us lazy to do it.
Kim, isn't it amazing how she's doing?
I'm getting her, I'm actually asking her so I get some tips because I have enough trouble getting on the elliptical in the morning.
See, and it's in your house, right?
Right here, I'm looking at it.
I can't even walk 1 mile walk. I can't do that. So I was like, oh, amazing. But she's saying that she's running. So she posted a video of running and doing the marathon half. I was like, you go, girl. You go. We are cheering for you. You go, girl. See,
Yes, I'm doing a run on Memorial Day. I can't wait for that. Usually those are fun. Plus running, being around people who run, and I love, actually like, I've come to enjoy amputee community events better because we learn so much from each other. And then obviously if I run, like when I do marathons, it's able-bodied people marathons, but they have accommodations for amputees. Some runs do, some don't. So I have to accommodate for that. When I did my marathon, I had to run with I'm doing a run on Memorial Day. I can't wait for that. Usually those are fun. Plus running, being around people who run, and I love, actually like, I've come to enjoy amputee community events better because we learn so much from each other. And then obviously if I run, like when I do marathons, it's able-bodied people marathons, but they have accommodations for amputees. Some runs do, some don't. So I have to accommodate for that. When I did my marathon, I had to run with a they called them what? It's somebody who will volunteer to run the whole marathon with you so they can help you through along the way, because I have to switch my prosthetic sometimes. Well, not my prosthetic, but my sleeve, because you sweat inside. So you have to take it off, dry it off, put it back on. So it's a process. So you have to stop and do that. So they will help you do that faster, right? So you have people that help you throughout the way. If you have to stop with my blades, I cannot stop and drink water. Somebody either has to hold the cup for me and actually feed me the water, because my blade, you have to keep moving like this to actually, or sit down, one of the two. So if you have a pit stop where there's chairs, they will ask for a chair for me to sit where I sit. or they'll hold the cup for me or the bottle for me so I can drink the energy drink, or things along the way. So it's not an easy thing to run anything as an amputee. Even 5K, that's a huge thing because it takes a lot of endurance and mindset. Mind over matter. That's what I call it. If you
Those are
don't
some
mind, it doesn't matter.
good
If
words.
you mind, it matters. So
That's a
yeah.
good way to finish the interview. We appreciate your time so much, Torie. Thank you,
Mhm.
thank you, thank
Of
you
course.
for inspiring
Thank you.
us.
Of course, happy to be here.
You doing? Thank you. Just thank you. You've done a lot. And Kim was on me. Sometimes I'll get blank. Kim will be always on me. Hey, it's what's going on? What's new? What this? I just you guys are absolutely the best. Yeah, thank you for everything.
I'm happy to be here. Jenny, I told you I'm not going anywhere. Because I know if I do, you're gonna come find me.